Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, National Population Commission says election postponement may affect commencement date of census. Supreme Court orders INEC to recognize Hanga as Kanu NMPP senatorial candidate. Naira scarcity hits poultry farmers and egg sellers. And on the foreign scene, thousands displaced as Eastern DRC conflict worsens. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. We begin with the National Population and Housing Census, where the chairman of the National Population Commission, Nasir Kwara, said the commencement of the 2023 National Population and Housing Census, which was earlier slated for March 29th, is likely to be affected by the postponement of the governorship and state assembly elections. Kwara said this while speaking at a meeting with the president, or the resident representative of the United Nations Population Fund in Abuja. The state elections, which were earlier scheduled to hold on March 11th, have now been rescheduled for March 18th by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The chairman told reporters that he will consult with President Muhammadu Buhari for a suitable date for the national census. The resident representative of the United Nations Population Fund, Ulla Mueller, pledged the support of the UNFPA in ensuring the success of the exercise. While reiterating the significance of the exercise to the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals, Mueller explained that the conduct of a post-enumeration survey will also give credibility to the census. Meanwhile, the National Population Commission says it will generate quality data that will meet international standards in the 2023 Population and Housing Census. The Director of Public Affairs of the National Population Commission said this in an exclusive interview with Trust TV.
Nigeria is set to conduct a national population census. But unlike previous headcounts, the 2023 edition is expected to be digital without the use of papers.
As you know, this census is going to be digital. We have received the personal digital assistant that we're going to use for the exercise. And right now, those personal digital assistants, which will be used to collect information on the field, they are being configured in such a way that will make the census process very, very smooth, transparent, and error-free.
But do Nigerians think this can be achieved?
INEC emphasized and gave us full assurance that there's going to be electronic upload of the results. You and I know how it ended or how it's panning out. So for now, I cannot say they will succeed 100% because of that experience. But it's another thing to their advantage to improve on their own technology.
No, they can't deliver. Because I know before, when they are doing census, they used to go to houses from one room to another, counting how many children, how many men, how many women, in fact, everybody are counting. But going digital without counting one by one, they won't know how many we are in Nigeria.
Yes, it can work if they will be faithful to what they have said. Because in the last election, the INEC chairman have given us assurance that beavers will work. But at the end of the election, we know what happens. And the outcome is being contested in the court of law. If they will do what they say according to their promise, it will be more better. Then we will know the actual number we have in Nigeria.
And what lesson should MPC learn from INEC?
I've had complaints or issues or concern raised that INEC adopted technology and perhaps maybe it didn't achieve the intended purpose or as much as they thought. Well, and MPC will also do it whether we're going to have the same result. First, we must get it clear at this level, we cannot run away from technology. Of course, we must also recognize the fact that technology also has its own problem. But the type of technology that will be adopted by MPC, I can speak for that. I don't know the details of the beavers used by INEC, but I know that our own processes, we have tested it over time and we're sure that it's going to work.
The Commission, however, urged Nigerians to assist the MPC achieve this feat by rendering help to the census staff and give accurate data while making themselves available for the head count. Martia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now to Lagos, where no more fatalities were recorded after the initial tally of 6 from the BRT and train accident. Over 100 victims have also been stabilized as 32 injured persons have been discharged at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Professor Adetokunbo Fabahun, gave the update on Friday.
Calmness is gradually returning to the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, Ikeja, where most of the victims of Thursday's accident are receiving treatment. Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, at a news conference on Friday said 32 survivors of the train and bus accident have been discharged from different hospitals in the state. He said that 19 survivors were discharged from the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, LASUD, 5 from Toll Gate Trauma Center and 8 from Orile Agege General Hospital. The commissioner added that the accident recorded 102 casualties, including 6 fatalities. Commending blood donor, Professor Abayomi said all the victims with varying degrees of life-threatening injuries were admitted and treated at LASUD.
Yesterday, as of early this morning, we were able to transfuse 40 units of blood to the victims to stabilize them, those that required blood because they're either going in for surgery or they were bleeding into their brain or their chest or their abdomen, were able to save their lives with rapid access and availability of safe blood. Thank you very much to all citizens of Lagos State who responded in a very unusual way. Yesterday we were able to collect 256 voluntary units of blood from sympathizers and well-wishers, and we're really very grateful to the public for responding in this way. In case we have more access or more need for blood, you can see that on top of the blood we have in our blood bank, we're able to replenish our stores with a very generous response from the community.
Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the wife of President-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, alongside the First Lady of Lagos State, Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, were also at LASUD to check the condition of the victims from the accident. Senator Tinubu described the accident as an unfortunate incident while calling for caution on the part of the drivers to avoid accidents.
I can just hope that the drivers are more careful in the future. And because they can see what has happened now, lives have been lost. So we, commiserate with the family that lost some loved ones. And those who are here, we wish them speedy recovery.
Chief Medical Director of LASUD, Professor Adetokunbo Fabahun, stated that the hospital has not recorded any more fatalities after the 6 internally recorded. He added that through the trigger, LASUD was able to stabilize over 100 patients while referring the less safe patients to other hospitals around the state.
To seize the opportunity to say that we triaged in compliance with international best practice. When you have huge numbers of casualties, there is no way that you can have vacant or empty emergency bed spaces to put them. So the whole idea is to put them in an open space so that you can clearly see the injuries that they have. Health workers who are numbering over 100 will be able to move around freely to be able to ascertain the kind of injuries they were dealing with.
Relative of one of the accident victims, Raman Bakare, commended the effort of the staff of LASUD as well as the Lagos State government for the swift response.
The status right now is that he's very conscious and he's discussing with us like a brother. We can see that he's very conscious and we thank God for that. But before now, he was struggling with the consciousness. We could not really speak with him very well. But as of now, he's conscious, though he still has a fracture in his leg and he has some issues with his pelvic and then he has some issues with his chest.
Lagos State, the commercial hub of Nigeria, was thrown into a panic mood on Thursday when a Lagos State government staff bus convening civil servants from Isola to Alausa had a head-on collision with a train at PWD bus stop along Agege Motor Road.
And now to Jigawa State, where following the fire incidents that razed down many houses and displaced residents of two communities in Kiawa local government area of the state, the National Emergency Management Agency has delivered relief items to provide succor to the affected persons. NEMA Director General Mustafa Habib Ahmed, who presented the items at one of the affected communities, Malamawa, said the relief support was delivered under instructions from President Muhammadu Buhari through the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management. He commiserated with the affected persons and said the federal government was concerned about their plight. He explained that the items delivered were based on preliminary assessment conducted by NEMA Kano Territory Office in collaboration with Jigawa State Emergency Management Agency. The Jigawa State Governor, represented by his deputy Umar Namadi, appreciated the federal government through NEMA for the timely intervention of relief to the fire victims. A midday fire last Sunday, the 5th of March 2023, razed down many homes in Malamawa and Karangia communities of Kiawa local government area of Jigawa State. Poultry farmers and egg sellers are feeling the heat of the naira scarcity as the cashless policy affects businesses and means of livelihood. Noel Sampson reports that egg sellers in Abuja are recording losses due to the cash crunch.
Chicken and egg production is a lucrative business until recently, when the economy is hit by naira scarcity. Poultry farmers say cash unavailability in the country is telling on them now, especially those into egg production.
The cash unavailability has made business a little bit tough. We have to pay for labor, we have to pay our salaries, we have to pay our workers. Then because there's no cash, we have eggs on stock right now that we cannot even sell. We have over 100 crates of eggs on ground that has not been moving. Business is making business very, very slow.
In the purchase of materials, mostly the chicken feed and a lot of other things, it has affected immensely in the sense that you have to make sure that you can make transfers, especially since the cash crunch also coincided with a very low network where you can't even make transfers. Sometimes we go to buy things, we are there for minutes without end trying to pay them. It's not like we don't have the means to pay them, it's just the whole system is a bit messy right now.
They call on the federal government to set machinery in motion to normalize the situation for businesses to survive and thrive.
Like to buy feeds now, we have to transfer. Sometimes to make transfers, because of the bad network, you have to wait there for like days before you get your feed. We have to there was a day I went to buy feed. I had to beg them to just give me 2 so I can bring it back here. So when they eventually get the transfer, I can get the remaining ones. Normally we just have paid cash, get all my feed and everything will be fine. It just makes things more stressful. Transporting the feeds here, everything is just more stressful.
We really hope that the new judgments from the Supreme Court will be followed by CBN, and hopefully we'll start seeing things moving quicker. It will help our business a lot.
About 21 billion eggs are produced in Nigeria annually through poultry farming, making it the largest production of chicken eggs in Africa. But due to the cash crunch we have in the country, you can see the number of eggs we have here. We have estimately over 100 crates of eggs available here. From Tabai Farms in Abuja, Noel Sampson, Trust TV News.
And to politics now, where the Supreme Court has affirmed Rufai Ihanga as the NNPP Kano Central senatorial candidate. The Apex Court also ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission to recognize him and not Ibrahim Shekaro, who the Commission recognized as the winner of the Saturday, February 25th election. Delivering judgment in an appeal brought before it by the Independent National Electoral Commission, the court upheld the judgments of the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which had earlier upheld the candidature of Rufai Ihanga as the candidate of the party. In the judgment prepared by Justice Wine Abaji and delivered by Justice Emmanuel Agim, the Supreme Court held that INEC's appeal lacked merit and substance and subsequently dismissed it. The Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal had, in their previous judgment, upheld Rufai Ihanga as the senatorial candidate of the NNPP for Kano Central, following the withdrawal of Ibrahim Shekaro as a member of the party and senatorial candidate due to irreconcilable differences he allegedly had with the party. Rather than obeying the Federal High Court order, INEC appealed the judgment at the appellate court. Not satisfied with the judgments of the trial and appellate courts, the electoral body proceeded to the Supreme Court to challenge the judgments, which upheld Rufai Ihanga as the lawful candidate of the NMPP Kano Central Senatorial District. And the People's Democratic Party in Kaduna State has accused the ruling All Progressives Congress of using state apparatus to intimidate its members ahead of the governorship election. The state PDP chairman, Hassan Hiet, who made the allegation at a media conference in Kaduna, described the move as undemocratic and dictatorial. The report.
The party alleged that the ruling party in the state wants to retain power by intimidating PDP members in Kaduna State.
We draw the attention of Nigerians and the international community to these undemocratic acts of harassment against PDP members in our state. We ask for either the immediate release of those arrested or charged to a competent court so that the needed legal process can start. Doing otherwise would amount to an infringement of their fundamental human rights and a clear misuse of state power.
The party alleged that vote buying could be used in the forthcoming governorship election to influence voters, calling on the authorities to take the necessary actions. The PDP chairman also called on the security agencies to investigate APC for vote buying.
It's about vote buying, whether in cash or in kind. The whole thing is the same, and it is against the law. And that's why we are asking EFCC that is saddled with that responsibility to take the necessary actions, because they cannot claim ignorance of what is going on. And since we have not seen any action being taken, we are drawing their attention so that tomorrow they will not say that they don't know. We have now told them.
The chairman of the APC in Kaduna State, Emmanuel Jakada, and Secretary Yahaya Baba Party could not be reached for comment on the allegations by the opposition party in the state. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress in Kwara State have been trading words over allegations of alleged vote buying following the postponement of the governorship and state assembly elections. The People's Democratic Party is accusing the ruling party of secretly transferring money to lure voters for the forthcoming election, while the All Progressives Congress alleges plans by the opposition to buy votes with foreign currency. The report.
The first salvo of accusation was thrown by the campaign council of the Kwara State chapter of the People's Democratic Party at a press conference where it accuses the ruling party of desperation to win the coming governorship election by giving out money to lure voters electronically.
We're here to bring to your attention the genuine information at our disposal on how a huge sum of money is being moved for the various accounts of Kwara State into private accounts for subsequent disbursements to induce voters. We have correct and factual information about how political office holders, private individuals outside government, influential people in our society, and even bureaucrats receive huge money from government accounts.
Reacting, the All Progressive Congress wondered how the opposition could be involved in what it termed reckless claim and penchant falsehood. Abdallah Abdul Majid, deputy spokesperson APC Campaign Council, alleges that the opposition, PDP, has concluded arrangements to buy people's votes with foreign currencies, adding that the ruling party has won the hearts of the people and will win without buying votes.
We would like to say very clearly, without fear or favor, that there's no truth whatsoever to the claims of the ever-lying PDP. The party is notorious among our people for its reckless claims and penchant for outright falsehood. Its latest claims are true to type and especially hypocritical of a political party that sought to buy people's conscience with dollars, which we are aware of. The action of the PDP is nothing more than shadow chasing, and it is engaging in false equivalence, thinking everyone acts in bad faith, as they did while in government, and they still do, even while they are in the opposition at the moment.
In Kwara State, the governorship election is a contest between the incumbent APC governor and the opposition PDP, which lost power in 2019.
And mixed reactions continue to trail the postponement of the governorship and state assembly elections by the Independent National Electoral Commission to Saturday, March 18th. INEC said the move is to enable it to reconfigure the bimodal voter accreditation system for the elections. Ado Musa speaks to voters in Jos on the development.
Residents of Plateau State also joined other Nigerians to express their views on the postponement of the governorship and state assembly elections. While some are of the view that the postponement of the election was within the powers of INEC and the commission is right, others expressed dissatisfaction, believing that INEC should have reconfigured the vivas well ahead of time.
The postponement of the election is a shock to some of us because people are already they're ready to vote. But to our surprise, just a short time they said is postponed, which is not appropriate.
Based on the issue at hand, INEC mentions that there was a litigations by both parties, APC, PDP, and Labour Party in regard to the issue of vivas. And then it was I think on Wednesday that the INEC were able to get a judgment from Court of Appeal, of which they were allowed to configure the vivas for the next election.
We are not happy for this postponement because a lot of people, they are expecting this election, and everything and our activities is stopped because we are just waiting to cast our vote, but we are just here. INEC was postponed the elections.
The residents hope that the electoral empire will do the needful to ensure that the exercise is free and fair.
Our hope, we need INEC to do free and fair elections because we don't want to hear something different from us. We are putting hope. So please, INEC should make sure that they are doing free and fair elections.
Due to the enthusiasm of INEC and the hope Nigerians are having that the election is going to be free and fair, and then with the hope that those that were elected and then they were going to be given their mandate.
We hope that the needful will be done, because let it not repeat himself. If the thing repeats himself, to me, is a very bad one.
The electorates hope that there will be no further extension after March 18. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
And now to Borno State, where residents of Maiduguri, the state capital, have expressed dissatisfaction with INEC's postponement of the governorship elections to next weekend. To them, the date shift will extend the hardship occasioned by the naira scarcity, which they hoped would have eased after March 11th. They called on the government to tackle the cash scarcity to curtail the exorbitant prices of goods and services.
Among a cikin irin rayuwar da muka zo muka samu muka tsinci kanmu mu especially a yanzu akwai matsala muna samun labari cewa bayan zabe da sake kuɗi.
The suffering we found ourselves is so dire. It's well known that after the elections, cash is going to be in circulation because to feed is a problem. It would have been better we finish the election once and for all, so we forget about it.
Daman zabe ya zo, za a yi zaben gwamna aka ce an daga. Sakamakon daga Allah ya samu ya zama mana mafi alheri.
We thought this Saturday we will know who will be our governor, but now that INEC wants to reconfigure the BVAS machines, it's fine, but we just want this election to be over.
To for the first time na presidential din ma shi ma an ce magana BVAS zai duk da ba ka amma kuma an zo an yi election din babu wannan BVAS da sauransu. To gashi yanzu wannan an zo an ce an kara da sauransu.
Even the presidential elections, they didn't use BVAS machine. Voting was done manually, so what do they want to reconfigure? Prices of foodstuffs have increased and money is so scarce, making life difficult. We just hope that they are truly doing the right thing.
And still staying in Borno State, where the United Nations has condemned the brutal killing of at least 35 civilians in Mokdolo village in Gamborungala local government area of Borno State. The traders were ambushed and murdered on Wednesday by suspected fighters of the Islamic State for West Africa province, ISWAP. About 10 more fishermen and farmers escaped the attack. 3 sustained bullet wounds, while others are still missing. In a statement by UN resident and humanitarian coordinator for Nigeria, Matthias Schmale, he extended his condolences to the bereaved families and wished the injured a speedy recovery. Schmale called the attack another horrific reminder of the insecurity that IDPs and others affected by the 13 years of armed conflict in the region face daily. The coordinator observed that the area has been abandoned prior to the attack due to the activities of non-state armed groups. Now, violent attacks and criminal activities were at their lowest ebb in the last few months leading up to the presidential and National Assembly elections. But the question many ask is whether the frequency of violent attacks reduced drastically or because the media attention shifted to the election and the attacks were underreported. However, the security expert attributes the reduction of attacks to the effect of the Naira redesign policy and the focus on the 2023 general elections.
There has been a decline in the rate of criminal activities such as kidnapping, murder, burglary, fraud, terrorism, insurgency and secessionist violence in the country, as political activities are given more priority and the cash crunch brought by the Naira redesign policy, according to residents, making it difficult for easy operations of criminal elements. Experts say that the aim of the policy regarding crime reduction is being achieved despite experiences of cash crunch on the people. As sustenance of the policy and INEC's conduct at subsequent polls will guarantee more peace and stability.
I'm sure in the past 2 months or so, you hardly can hear of kidnap except political kidnap. You know, there are different types of kidnap. You know, the people who go for economic reasons to get money and people who go to kidnap their political opponents. So those ones are targeted. But for the regular economic kidnap is on the decline.
I can remember vividly some areas we are having constant robbery before the policy. But now, I think it's, since the introduction of the CBN policy, there is this reduction. It has drastically declined.
It has reduced to some extent. The way they usually demand for ransom is not as reduced because where is the money? The money is no longer in circulation. And even if you have to pay this ransom, you understand, it will be through the banks and it can easily be traced.
On sufficient reporting of these incidents, experts says the media does its part, but focus and expectation is more on political activities.
Mostly what we are talking about now, political activities. You wake up in the morning, is election, election, election. Everybody talking about election, manipulation of the processes and all what have you. So that's what is trending. So, but that is not to say that when there are criminal activities, they shouldn't be reported to.
Mike Ejiofor says for peace to continue to reign in the country, the Naira redesign policy must be maintained and transparency in the conduct of the state elections must be more credible to avert any uprising.
The peace and stability in this country after the election lies in the hand of INEC. So they must be serious, they must take this very serious to ensure. Nobody is interested on who wins the election. But if the process is fair, credible, transparent, people will not worry.
He said security stability is a collective responsibility of everyone that must be given priority, especially by security agencies and government at all levels. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Still with us on Trust TV News Hour, still ahead. We take a look at the recklessness of Abuja drivers. Details of this and more after the break. Just stay with us. Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secured are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Or really, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV's News Hour. Now let's recap our top stories. National Population Commission says election postponement may affect commencement date of census. And the Supreme Court orders INEC to recognize Hanga as Kano NMPP senatorial candidate. Moving on to other news. Now, the police force in Nasarawa State has arrested 2 persons over alleged rape of a 15-year-old girl in Obi local government area of the state. A statement from the police command said that one 24-year-old Amina Hashimu and 18-year-old Lukman Dogara, both residents of Owolosho Street, Obi town in Obi local government area of the state, criminally conspired and raped a teenage victim. The command said the suspects were arrested at different locations in the town and Lafia. According to the command, preliminary investigations revealed that the suspects lured the victim, who had a hearing impairment, to a residence at Okbe Street, Obi, and had unlawful carnal knowledge of her. The command maintained that the suspects have confessed to the commission of the crime. The victim has been taken to the hospital for medical examination as investigations continue. And to politics now, where the Nasarawa State National Rescue Movement governorship candidate Abubakar Sambo has denied media reports that he has stepped down from the race for the People's Democratic Party candidate David Umbugadu. The NRM candidate made the clarification during a press briefing in Lafia. He explained that the news report is not true and that he remains the authentic candidate of NRM in Nasarawa State.
My ambitions and have stepped down to the gubernatorial candidate of PDP, Honorable David Umbugadu. I would like to state categorically and for the record that this is not true. Let me clarify that I, Alhaji Musa Sambu, remain not only the authentic but also the acceptable candidate of National Rescue Movement in Nasarawa State. The news is not only fake but also unfounded and malicious being spread by politicians who are desperate to achieve their political goal through whatever means possible. I wish to also state that I have been approached by various leading political parties in the state on the possibility of withdrawing from the race and to support their respected candidates in the following forthcoming 2023 gubernatorial and state assembly election in the state.
And now to Taraba State, where the Labour Party in the state has disowned evangelist Philip Munlip's endorsement of the People's Democratic Party governorship candidate Agu Kefas. The chairperson of the party in the state, Esther Johnson, and the gubernatorial candidate Joel Lami Ikenya, as well as members of the Presidential Campaign Council in the state, told newsmen that Philip Munlip is a chieftain of the party and as such cannot endorse anyone on behalf of the party.
We call on all the Tarabans to disregard such endorsement as it is just imagination of a desperate man who wants to deceive, mislead, and mislead for personal benefit. For emphasis, the Labour Party is fully prepared to go into the contest for governorship and State House of Assembly election come 2018, March 2023. Members of the public are therefore enjoined to be wary of such characters.
Of their prayer briefing, sponsor prayer briefing, they did say that money was given to me, that I sabotaged Peter Obi. And I'm very happy that you who are people who keep record. You know how my zone produce vote for Peter Obi. I could have sabotaged Peter Obi in Central Zone and Northern Zone and produce massive vote from Ukari and the Senatorial District. I just want to say, some are there, they are more. Some are there for their personal benefit. We are for New Nigeria and we are for New Taraba.
And commuters in Abuja want traffic law enforcement agencies to rise against reckless driving in the nation's capital. Kabir Lawal reports that driving against traffic has caused avoidable accidents.
Reckless driving with impunity has been a source of worry for many, and the situation is made worse by the helplessness of traffic law enforcement agencies. Driving against traffic has been very common, making it dangerous for drivers and other road users. A cross-section of commuters said reckless driving must be addressed through orientation of drivers with such habit.
Yes, we have an attitude in Nigeria from top to down. This attitude, two, one, we are self-centered. I only think of myself. That would be myself. That is why most of the time Nigeria will not be able to progress. Why will you come and park a vehicle on the road to carry passengers or drop passengers or to talk to someone else?
Driving is all about calmness. Everybody must get to his destination. That when you are driving, you are trained or not, life doesn't have any repeat.
Some explain that lack of maintenance culture among drivers contributes to reckless and dangerous driving.
It's much though, but I believe the drivers can take caution. If they can obey the rules and regulations of the road, I think things will go well. Instead of, because most of the taxi drivers, they actually stay on the road to pick their passengers. Instead of using the lane made for passengers to drop, then you pick them from there.
And recklessly is not good. One, because of your life, and for the life of the passengers we are carrying. And some of them that are driving have family at home. Their wish is that as they go, they will come back to meet their family.
I want to tell the road safety to sit up, because when they drive recklessly, there are laws in the land that can make them pay for what they have done. And if 1 or 2 persons pay, other will sit up. But when people are doing anyhow and nobody is controlling them, we will become a lawless people. So they should sit up. They should and implement what is written in the law.
Over 1,645 people have lost their lives due to reckless driving here in the Federal Capital Territory in the last few months. All efforts to speak to law enforcement officers to curb this menace has proved abortive. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, in Rivers State, says it will continue to wage war against oil theft and economic sabotage by elements who are bent on undermining the economic growth of the country. NSCDC Commandant in the state, Michael Oga, said this at an illegal local refinery at Otamiri Eche local government area of Rivers State. The report.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has uncovered an illegal local refinery at Otamiri Eche local government area of Rivers State, which sells crude from OML 17 fields operated by Hires Holding Oil and Gas Limited. NSCDC Commandant in Rivers State, Michael Oga, lamented that the command is employing new strategy of operations by illegal oil thieves. Oga explained that for the eagle eye of the command and the sustained intelligence gathered from informants, it would have been difficult to uncover the illegal oil bunkering activities ongoing in such a remote part of the town.
So, and this product here is tapped from the pipelines of HHOG company, HHOG company, they tap it from the pipeline. They're in the process of constructing. They have not started the refining yet. So based on credible information by the company briefed us on what is going on. So we came to safeguard the place, and also we are going to destroy this illegal refinery.
Oga said that investigation is ongoing to unravel the owners and sponsors of such a gigantic illegal refinery in the area. He also warned oil thieves and operators of local refineries in the state to either relocate or face the full wrath of the law.
We were not able to arrest anybody, but we are still investigating to know the owner of this parcel of land who may have allowed them to do this kind of business. But we know those who are doing this business, they are not the owner of this land. So we are going to trace the owner of the land, so I'll be able to locate the owner of the business. You can see they have about 3 boreholes. You know how much it costs to sink one borehole, and there are 3 here with all these containers where they are storing the product. We know that this is a big business, because this one we're going to stop them. We are not going to allow them to operate.
An explosion from a crude oil tapping point has killed at least 12 people last Friday in Remuepe community, Omohua local government area of Rivers State.
You're still watching Trust TV's News Hour. The news continues after this break. Stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back to Trust TV's News Hour. Let's now join Chiamaka Nwafo for business news.
A new Executive Order 001 compliance report by the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, has identified 5 top-performing ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, that promoted transparency and efficiency in Nigeria's business environment for 2022. At a press briefing on Thursday, Jumoke Oduwole, the Special Advisor to the President, Ease of Doing Business and PEBEC Secretary, said the overall EO1 performance score is based on efficiency 70% and transparency 30%. The MDAs listed are the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB, the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, Federal Competition Consumer Protection Council, FCCPC, Nigerian Export-Import Bank, NEXIM, and the Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC. It said the top-performing MDAs differentiate themselves by achieving a balanced performance on both the efficiency and transparency scales across the 3 cross-cutting directives of transparency, default approval, and one government. The list performing MDAs are Nigerian Customs Service, Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Commercial Law and Trademarks Department, Nigerian Police Force, and Special Control Unit Against Money Laundering. The African Development Bank has issued a $2 billion 5-year global benchmark bond due March 14, 2028. The Continental Bank revealed this in a statement on Thursday, describing the bond as its first of the year. The bond was issued on March 7, 2023. AFDB said that the bond is part of its funding strategy of issuing large liquid benchmark transactions. The bank said the issue garnered interest from central banks and official institutions. And finally in stocks, the stock market on Friday closed on a bearish note occasioned by profit taken in 18 stocks. The all-share index declined by 0.05% to close at 55,794.51 points. Market capitalization closed at 30.395 trillion naira, down by 0.05%, thereby shedding 14 billion naira. The market breadth closed negative as 9 equities emerged as gainers against 18 equities that declined in their share prices. An aggregate of 276 million units of shares were traded in 3,467 deals valued at 8.59 billion naira. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
Thank you, Chiamaka, for that business update. Now let's take a look at the foreign scene, where the United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, has warned of growing humanitarian catastrophe in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, where fighting between government forces and armed groups has caused hundreds of thousands of people to flee. The UNHCR spokesperson Matthew Saltzmarsh said on Friday that the violence had prompted nearly 300,000 people to flee across the Rutshuru and Masisi territories of the DRC's North Kivu province in February. Expressing great alarm, Saltzmarsh says the UNHCR and partners were concerned about the UN humanitarian assistance, but the difficulties remain in accessing displaced people in some parts of North Kivu because of the violence. In mid-January, the UN aid agency, OCHA, said 12 humanitarian organizations had been forced to limit their operations in parts of Ituri province because of increased attacks. The ruling junta in Mali announced on Friday that it will postpone a constitutional referendum scheduled for March 19th, while assuring that it will respect its commitment to return civilians to the helm of the country in 2024. The junta justifies the postponement by the installation of the representations of election management body in all regions of the country and by the desire to popularize the draft new constitution. This new constitution is a key element of the vast reform project invoked by the military to justify continuing to rule this country until 2024, which is facing the spread of jihadism and a deep multifaceted crisis. The version of the constitution presented as final, handed to the head of the junta, Colonel Assimi Goita, on February 27th, affirms the attachment to the republican form and secularity of the state. Mali has been plagued since 2012 by the spread of jihadism and violence of all kinds. The junta pushed out French soldiers in 2022 amid great acrimony and has turned to Russia in both its military and political affairs. Now for a look at sports, where Nigeria's under-23 national football team, the Olympic Eagles, will now host their Guinean counterparts at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, on March 22nd in the final round of qualifiers for this year's Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations. The game was earlier scheduled for the Lekan Salami Stadium, Ibadan. To reach the stage of the series, the 1996 champions defeated Tanzania's under-23 team by 3-1 on aggregate in October 2022, winning 2-0 at the Lekan Salami Stadium after a 1-1 first leg stalemate at Dar es Salaam. The return leg against Guinea will be in Morocco on March 27th. And Rivers United recorded their second victory in as many games, beating the DRC's Motema Pembe 3-1 to climb to the top of Group B in the CAF Confederations Cup. The victory over the Congolese side was Rivers United's third in a row after their opening day 3-0 loss to Diables Noirs of Congo-Brazzaville. Hat-trick hero Paul Akwa, a Ghanaian, showed early in the game that the Stanley Eguma boys were in serious business as he terrorized the visitors' defense throughout the game. Next for the Pride of Rivers is another home game against Diables Noirs. Right now, let's join Adeni Ajishafe for sports news.
Ahead of 2023 African Basketball League, Nigerian champions Kwara Falcons are in Dakar, Senegal, the venue of Southern Conference games. The Ilorin-based club picked the qualification ticket after edging Kano Pillars in Super 8 final. They will face REG of Rwanda in the opening group game on Saturday before taking on AS Douanes of Senegal and US Monastir of Tunisia. And in football, World Cup bound Nigeria under-20 team Flying Eagles eased to a 4-goal victory over Tunisia's Young Carthage Eagles on Friday to claim bronze medal at the 17th Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt. The 7-time African champion had shaken off the pain on their lone goal semi-final defeat to the Gambia on Monday, which stopped their dreams of an 8th continental title. Ibrahim Mohamed, whose goal accounts for one of the 2 goals that beat Mozambique in the group phase to place Flying Eagles in the quarterfinals, pulled the Tunisians to task by scoring only 9 minutes into the match at Cairo International Stadium. Belgium-based forward Ahmed Abdullahi increased the tally on the North Africans with the second goal after the restart. Jude Sunday made it 3 for Nigeria 2 minutes after to add more to the woes of Young Carthage Eagles. Man of the match, Jude Sunday ran it off with the 4th goal in the 90th minute to earn Nigerian victory for the bronze medals for a record 4th time at Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. Flying Eagles picked the ticket for the World Cup to be among the 24 teams in the pot on 31st March when FIFA conducts draw for FIFA Under-20 World Cup taking place in Indonesia from 28th May to 11 June 2023. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And with Adedi's Sports Roundup, we wrap up Trust TV's News Hour for tonight. For more news, you can subscribe to watch us live on YouTube and, of course, follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.